Hello, friends, and welcome to yet another exhilarating video of Wisdom Zone. And this is Shubro, and I'm quite sure you have already guessed it because today I have the ninth session on develop your spoken English and become more fluent and proficient in your spoken English. So, it is my earnest request watch this video till the end because today I'm going to show you how you can speak confidently and how you can describe past incidents without hesitation. So it is also my earnest request, if you haven't subscribed to this channel, please do not wait and subscribe to Wisdom Zone and hit the bell icon so that you can turn on the notification and get further notification of this type of informative videos, right? So without wasting any more time, let's get started. So welcome back, friends. So as you see on your screen today, I have the ninth session where I'm going to help you out to develop your spoken English so that you can become more fluent and proficient in your spoken English. So before I move forward, let me inform you that the links of previous videos from part 1 to 8, all the links are given in the description. So if you haven't checked those videos, especially it's my request to the new viewers, so the links of the previous videos are given. And let me tell you, especially it's my request to the new viewers, please go through the links of the previous video part 1 to 8 because you'll get a lot of information from there. Especially you'll learn how to use the simple present tense and the present continuous tense, and how to use the simple past tense and as well as past continuous tense, how to narrate an anecdote, and so many other aspects I have discussed. And I have also given some latest practice techniques which you can use to practice effectively. So please check those videos and the links are given in the description. So without wasting any more time, let's get started with today's discussion. So as you see, friends, today I'm going to help you out with a very important aspect, and it is quite crucial because today I'm going to show you how to confidently narrate past incidents in English, right? You must be wondering how to do it, isn't that? But let me tell you, I'll make it very simple. And to describe or narrate past incidents in English, there are some elements you have to keep in mind. The first, as you see, use of the simple past tense. The second is use of the time words. Third is use of the simple past form of important irregular verbs in English. And the next is the fourth is use of the simple past form of regular verbs in English, right? So I'm going to discuss these four elements step by step, and after that I'm also going to show you how to do it, and I'm going to give you a demonstration, and I'm going to show you step by step, and I'll describe a past situation here only. And at last I'm also going to tell you about the latest practice techniques which you can use to describe any past incidents in English, right? So without further ado, let's get started. So as you see, friend, the first important element is to describe or narrate a past incident in English is to use the simple past tense, right? That we need to know how to use the simple past tense. So let me quickly tell you. So we need to use the simple past tense, as you know, to talk about some incident that happened in the past, right? And when you're talking about past incidents, you have to use the simple past tense effectively. So we can make affirmative sentences. As you see on your screen, the first is affirmative. That means when you make a positive sentence, that is just giving you some information, so that is called an affirmative. As you see the examples again, I met Sam in 2005. That means to give information, something that has happened, right? And the second is negative. Okay, in past sometimes need to use negative sentences. As you see the next example, I didn't see Sam last month, right? So this is a negative sentence. And the third one, as you see, that is question or the interrogative sentences. As you see the example is given, when did you meet Sam? So this is a question, right? So sometimes we have to use affirmative sentences or negative sentences or interrogative sentences, okay, to talk about past incidents. As I already mentioned, that's the way you use the simple past tense to talk about past incident that happened, something that happened in the past, right? And these are the three types of sentences we have to use. I hope it's crystal clear. Up next, we will see the second important aspect, that is use of the time words. As you see on your screen, use of the time words. So you must be wondering what exactly it is. So time words are very important. it is crucial to narrate a past incident or to talk about some situation or some happenings in the past, because if you do not use time words, then the sentence would not be clear, right? What exactly happened. So, as you see on your screen, I have given some examples of time words: yesterday's, years, weeks, months, days, last month, last week, last year, this morning, last night, one day. Okay, so these are all time words, right? So you use them to talk about some incident that happened. Yeah, so because without using time words, we will not be able to specify when this incident happened. Okay, as you have already understood that we talk about past incidents using the simple past tense, but we have to also clarify when this happened. So the time words help us to exactly point out when a particular incident happened in the past. So let me show you. Let me show you the example as you see on your screen that. Troy went to Australia last month. Okay, so here last month is telling me that Troy went to Australia, right? So if I just omit last month, it's not clear from the sentence when did he go to Australia, right? So last month, this is a time word which tells me that he went over there last month. Okay, so like this way you have to use time words. So you can see this another example. Caprio flew to Germany last night. So this is also use of time words. Last night is used to talk about when this incident happened. When did he go? When did he fly? Okay, that is last night. So that's the way to use time words. So I have already given the examples on your screen. The time words, they are very important. You can note them. You can take a screenshot. These are all time words, and I have shown in fact how to use time words. I have given two sentences, right? So we can use time words at the beginning of the sentence and also at the end. We can use anywhere at the end or at the beginning, right? So we can also say that last year we went to Gantok. So like this way you can use time words because they are very important. They're crucial to talk about something that happened and when exactly it happened. It points out towards the right time. Okay, without that it's not possible. So I hope it's clear. So up next we will move on to the next important aspect to narrate a past incident is the use of the simple past form of important irregular verbs in English, which is quite essential. You must be knowing, as you see on your screen, use of the simple past form of important irregular verbs in English, right? So I'm quite sure you must be aware. If you haven't gone through the previous video, let me quickly remind you that irregular verb is a verb which does not take the normal ed or d spelling, right? That means we cannot add ed or we cannot add d to its suffix to convert it into past, right? So in case of normal verbs or regular verbs, we add ed or d to its suffix to change it to past, right? But in case of irregular verbs, it does not take the normal ed or d spelling and can be changed into past, right? So as you see, the list is given. Let me quickly go through this. Like lose, so we cannot add ed or d and change it. So past of lose is lost. You have to completely change and you have to remember. So I lost my keys last night. Okay, let's see the second one, leave. That is another important one. People get confused. So past of leave is not leaved, it's left. So I left my car outside last night. So like this way you can use. So you have to remember that. Then next is stand. The past of stand is not standed, it stood. Okay, so you can say the Sam stood outside my house last week. So like this way you can use. The next is lend, and the past is not lend, it is lent. You have to remember it. I lent him 5,000 rupees last month, right? So like this. Next is get, and the past is got, right? I got a call last night from my friend. So like this way you can use. Like hang, the past is hung. You have to remember. Okay. My friend called me and suddenly hung up. So the past of can is could, as you see. So you can use could also. I could not get up early yesterday. So like this way, and then we have be verbs was or were. Okay. So in case of singular is we use was, we change it to past, and in case of are we change it to were, right? And then we have become, and the past is became. He became angry with me. Catch is caught. There are so many others also which I have given. As you see, it's going to take a long time if I keep on reading and giving examples and sentences. I'm just showing you. As you see, clearly you can take a screenshot. These are all important irregular verbs. You should remember, you should memorize. I have given it. You can take a screenshot also, right? So today we are going to use some of them, especially the ones which I have just discussed. I'm going to use some of them to show you how you can use irregular verbs, okay, apart from the irregular verbs to narrate an incident, right? So I hope it's clear what are irregular verbs. So let's also quickly talk about the fourth important element, that is use of the simple past form of regular verbs in English. As I already discussed, irregular verbs which cannot be converted into past by adding ed or d to its suffix. It does not take the normal ed or d spelling. But in case of regular verbs, we all know that we need to add ed, okay, or d to its suffix to change it to past, right? So we can add ed, and we can also use d in case of some words. So some people are not aware, so they think that we have to add ed only, but in case of some we have to add d only, not ed. So as you see the example, let me show you. Call, the past becomes called, we add ed. Play, we add again ed, it becomes past, is played. So the next is receive. So here we don't add ed, we just add d, okay. The past of receive is received. Similarly, the past of hate is there, and we don't add ed, we just add d because e is already there. So past of hate is hated, right? And the next is like, the past of like is liked. So again we add d only here. Understood? So these are all regular verbs where we add ed or d to its suffix to change it to past, right? So I'm quite sure it's clear. So I'm quite sure all the four elements are clear. Now I'm going to show you how you too can narrate an incident confidently and effectively, how you can talk about past situation, past incidents, right? So as you see, let me give you a situation. This is the first situation on your screen where I'm going to show you the situation one. So the situation one is you have to describe an important item which you lost, right? So I'm going to show you how to use this situation, how you can use this situation, how you can narrate this incident, how you can talk about something which you lost, and you can describe that effectively using the simple past. All the other elements I have already mentioned: irregular verbs, time verbs, and regular verbs, right? So let's get started. Let me show you. As you see on your screen, so first part, an important item which I lost was my Nokia mobile phone. So again, I'm using the past of lose is lost. This incident happened in 2011. One day, this is a time word, I caught a bus. Again, past of catch is caught. Okay, I have already given it. Caught a bus to reach my office in the morning, but it was totally congested. That's why I could not move inside the bus. I stood near the door and decided to wait. So again, the past of stand is stood. I hope you remember this is also a very irregular verb. After some time, a few passengers pushed me and got down. So let's see the next paragraph. So in the meantime, the congestion became less. So again, the past of become is became. This is again an irregular verb. And my destination also arrived. So I got down from the bus. After that, I reached office and put my hands in my pocket to look for the mobile phone, but it was not there. And then I became desperate and started searching for it, but it was nowhere. I must have lost it or dropped it while traveling. But one of my colleagues suspected that it was pickpocketed in the bus. So here the word pickpocketed is used as a verb. That means to steal money from someone's pocket is called, or steal something from someone's pocket is called pickpocketed, right? So it can be used as a noun also. Pickpocket means also a person who steals from someone's pocket, and it is used as a verb. That means to steal money, okay, from someone's pocket, or steal something from someone's pocket, right? So he suspected that it was pickpocketed in the bus while I was traveling. So that's the way you can use. I'm quite sure it's clear. Here also I have used some of the important irregular verbs which I have discussed already. So that's the way you should try. And I'm quite sure you have understood how to use the time words also. There are some situations I have used time words that one day I caught a buzz, right? So up next, I'm going to show you, you don't need to worry, how you can also practice. I'll give you some more situations which you can use to practice and narrate incidents in past so that you can become confident and fluent while describing past incidents, right? So let's see the latest practice techniques as you see on your screen. So let's give you a situation. So the first situation is as you see, an important phone call you got. So you talk about an important phone call you got. You use some of the irregular verbs which I have given, and you can use some other verbs also which you think is required, and also try to use the regular verbs. Also use the simple past form and try to describe an important phone call that you got. And obviously you have to use the time words also, the way I mentioned, the when you got this call, last month or last week. Okay, yeah, so let's see the second situation as you see on your screen. The second situation is that an important choice you had to make in your life. So obviously you can use some of the irregular verbs, and also you have to talk about an important choice you made. I'm giving some important hints. You can mention that when you made this choice and why you made, and you can talk about the options you had. What are the two or three options you had, and when exactly it happened? You can describe this nicely. You can try this situation also for practice. And the third situation is that an useful item you purchased. You can describe something which you purchased. You can use the term buy also, and it changes to past. It is an irregular verb, is bought, right? And apart from, you can use other irregular verbs also we have discussed. So you can mention an useful item which you bought, and I can give you some hints. You can mention when did you buy it, where exactly, from where did you buy, and you can describe how useful it is and why it is useful. So like this way you can narrate, and whether you are still using it or not, but focus on the thing which you purchased, and from where did you purchase, how did you buy, okay, and how much did you pay for it, right? So apart from that, you can also practice as you see on your screen, that you can narrate short stories, anecdotes, and practice effectively, and talk about past incidents confidently, the way I mentioned, using all the important elements, right? Suppose you can make a story of your own, and it can be a fictional story, or it can be an anecdote, something that happened in your life or in your school days or in your alma mater, or maybe in your professional career. You can talk about those incidents also in past, and that's the way you can practice. And apart from that, you can also describe how did you celebrate last New Year Eve? What did you do? How did you celebrate? That is another interesting topic, because, as you know, New Year is just round the corner. So you can talk about last New Year celebration. What did you do last New Year Eve, and how did you celebrate? And apart from that, you can write down 5 important things that you did in 2020, okay, or 2021, and then speak without seeing that. Okay, that is also one interesting way to practice. Write down 5 important things which you did, okay, in 2020 or 2021, or in any year, if you can recollect. After that, narrate that, okay. Or you can use negative sentences also. You can say what are the 5 things which you did not do right last year, and that also you can narrate. That's the way you can also practice the negative sentences, right? So at last, what you can also use picture, and you can make a story and narrate it. You can search online and take a picture from there, select it, or you can, picture from magazines or newspapers you can collect, and use that picture to narrate a story. Give a caption, give a title, and give some imaginary characters. So if you want more information about storytelling and anecdotes, I have already given a video, okay, you can check that. That is in the description. So I hope it's clear how you can practice, and do not forget. So let me quickly recap all the 4 important elements to talk about past incidents confidently in English. So the first is use of the simple past tense. You can make affirmative sentences, use simple past tense, right? You can make affirmative sentences, as I already mentioned. Then you have to make negative sentences sometimes. Understood? and then sometimes you have to make interrogative sentences also. Then the second important element is use of the time words. It is important to know how to use the time words, which I have already mentioned last year, last week, yesterday. These are all time words, right? Try to use them effectively. Then the use of the simple past form of important irregular verbs in English. I have given the important. Yes, I have given the list of important irregular verbs in English, and I have used some of them and discussed. So please do not forget, take a screenshot of that particular list and try to remember and use them. And up next, the fourth and the last important element is the use of the simple past form of regular verbs in English. That means normal verbs which we use normally. Add ed or d to the suffix. Those verbs, you have to use the simple past form and narrate an incident. So I hope you found this video quite useful, and it is crucial for your communication, because I have seen as a trainer so many students face this problem. Whenever they talk about past incidents, they sometimes get confused. They do not use the right irregular verbs. They don't know how to change the verb sometimes. So that's why I have selected the most important irregular verbs and the past forms are given. Please go through them and practice more and more, right? And I'm quite sure you found this video helpful, and it is my earnest request, if you haven't subscribed to this channel, please do subscribe to Wisdom Zone and hit the bell icon so that you can turn on the notification and get further notification of this type of informative videos, right? So stay tuned for further informative videos, and wish you all a happy and prosperous New Year 2023.